I remember the exact moment everything changed. It was 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was checking my bank account before finalizing housing for my dream university, and my entire future vanished. $187,000, gone, balance, $12.43. I called my mother. She answered too fast, like she was waiting. There was an adjustment, she said smoothly. Markets fluctuate. Your father handled it. Markets don't make $187,000 disappear, I replied. Where's my money? Everything's fine. She hung up. I didn't cry. Instead, I screenshotted everything, every transaction, every timestamp. Then I emailed the bank for full documentation. The answer destroyed me. The withdrawal had been made in person, authorized by a joint account holder. I had a co-signer on my funds, someone I'd never met, never agreed to, never knew existed. I was never informed, never asked, never given a choice. 2 years earlier, my parents sat me down and changed everything. They explained they wanted to help manage my college fund. They said they'd opened a joint account for administrative simplicity. It sounded normal, helpful, loving. I was 18. I trusted them. I didn't ask questions. Over those 2 years, I watched my parents transform. Their house got nicer, their car became a luxury model. My mother wore expensive jewelry, they took vacations. They seemed happy, free. I didn't know I was watching them spend my future. My brother asked once how they suddenly had money. They said my father got a raise, he believed them. Why wouldn't he? Parents don't lie to their children. The family dinner where everything exploded happened on a Thursday night in March. My grandmother was visiting from out of state. She did this sometimes, just showed up for a weekend, brought good wine, spent time with us. My younger brother was home from his first semester at university. Everyone was smiling, everyone was acting, everyone was lying. My grandmother, who everyone calls strong, but nobody really understands, set her fork down with absolute precision. The sound of it hitting the plate stopped everything. The conversation froze, the air changed. She didn't lose her tuition fund, Grandma said, looking directly at my parents. Her voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. You gave it to him. The air in the dining room compressed so hard I felt like I couldn't breathe. My mother's hand froze, reaching for her wine glass. I watched the glass tremble slightly. My father's jaw tightened so hard I could see the muscle jump beneath his skin. My brother looked confused, angry, almost betrayed, though he didn't understand yet why. What are you talking about? My father said. He tried to laugh. It came out wrong. She didn't lose her tuition fund. My grandmother repeated, slowly, like she was explaining something to a child. You took it. You stole it from her. The word stole hung in the air like poison. My father laughed, a short, terrible sound that made my skin crawl. Mom, don't start. But Grandma wasn't looking at him. She was looking at me, directly, those sharp, grey eyes that didn't miss anything. That saw everything, that understood everything. And I didn't look away. I never authorized any transfer, I said quietly. My voice was steady. I'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times in my head. I knew what I wanted to say, how I wanted to say it. I was ready. My brother blinked. He looked confused, lost. What transfer? That's when I realized something that made my stomach drop so hard I felt sick. He truly didn't know where the money came from. He actually believed their lie. He thought they'd suddenly become successful. He was grateful to them for paying his tuition, his car, his new life. He had no idea it was stolen from me, which meant my parents had lied to all of us. To my brother, to my grandmother, to themselves. I reached into my bag with trembling hands and pulled out a manila folder. It was thick, heavy with evidence. I placed it slowly on the table in front of everyone. The sound of it landing made my mother flinch. Open it, I said. Nobody moved. Open it, I repeated. My grandmother opened it first. She pulled out the document slowly. Her face didn't change. She already knew what was inside. She'd seen these before. Inside were copies of the withdrawal forms the bank had sent me after weeks of requesting them. Official documents, stamped, certified. The signature on those forms was supposedly mine. But it wasn't. My real signature has a sharp break in the T of Turner. It's almost violent, angry, even. I've signed my name that way since I was 7 years old. It's distinctive, it's unmistakably mine. The signature on that withdrawal form was smooth, rounded, practiced. Someone had studied how I signed my name and copied it. Someone had sat down and practiced until they could forge it perfectly. Someone in my family had committed a federal crime. "That's not Abby's handwriting," my brother said, leaning forward. His voice had changed. He sounded younger, scared. My mother didn't look at the documents. She looked away. My father refused to touch them. He kept his hands on the table like they were poisoned. "You're accusing us of forgery," my father said. His voice had teeth now. It had an edge I'd never heard before. I didn't answer. I just slid another document across the table. A certified letter from the bank stating the account was fully liquidated and closed the same day as the withdrawal. Not rebalanced, not transferred to another account. Not paused or frozen, closed, completely closed. All the money, every penny, gone in a single transaction. My father's face hardened, not into anger, into fear. "This is family business," he said, but his voice was smaller now. "Fraud isn't family business," my grandmother said. The word hung in the air like smoke. Fraud, it was real. It had a name, it had consequences, it was a crime. My brother's breathing changed. He looked at my parents like they were strangers. "Maybe they always had been. Did you use my name to justify this?" He asked quietly, his voice shook. "Did you tell the bank you were paying for my education?" My parents said nothing. After dinner ended early too early, with nobody finishing their food, my father cornered me in the hallway. The house was silent. My mother had gone upstairs. My brother was in the living room, staring at nothing. My grandmother was in the guest room with the door closed. My father's voice was low, controlled, dangerous in a way I'd never experienced before. "You're tearing this family apart." I met his eyes without flinching. I'd prepared for this moment too. "You did that 2 years ago," I said. "When you decided to steal from me." He started explaining. He said my brother needed stability. University was expensive. I was independent. I was strong. I could handle it. I was smarter than my brother anyway. I'd figure something out. I was going to be fine. Translation, I was easier to sacrifice. "Drop this," he said. It wasn't a request. It was a command. It was a threat. I stepped back, away from him. I already spoke to someone. He stiffened. His whole body went rigid. "Spoke to who?" he demanded. I didn't answer. Because I'd done more than just talk to someone. I'd been preparing this for months. While my parents were sleeping, while they were at work, while they thought I was studying. The truth is, I didn't just gather documents, I gathered witnesses. My grandmother had become my unexpected ally. 6 months after I discovered the theft, I'd told her everything. I'd shown her the bank statements. I'd explained what happened. I'd cried for the first time since discovering the truth. She'd listened without interrupting, not once, just listened. Then she asked one question. "You never signed anything." "Never," I said. "They just told me it was a joint account. For administrative purposes." I didn't understand what that meant. She didn't cry. She didn't rage. She didn't yell about calling the police. She just said, "Send me what you have." That was the moment I realized I wasn't alone. She'd saved everything from my childhood. Birthday cards I'd made her, school permission slips, report cards. My driver's license application that I'd filled out myself when I turned 16. Everything. She pulled out this old box from her closet that had my entire life in it. She compared every sample of my signature to the forged signature on the bank documents. She laid them out on her kitchen table like a forensic analyst. The differences were undeniable. The handwriting got more controlled over time. My signature became more confident as I got older. The forged signature on the bank document didn't match any of that progression. It was too perfect, too smooth, too practiced. Then she did something brilliant, something that changed everything. She showed them to a retired notary she'd known for 40 years. A woman named Patricia who'd spent her entire career authenticating signatures and documents. A woman who could spot a forgery from a mile away. Patricia studied all the samples for a long time. She compared them with a magnifying glass. She examined the pen pressure, the angle, the spacing between letters. Then she said, "This one is traced." Someone copied it from another sample and practiced until they could reproduce it. See how the pressure is different. See how the angle is off by just enough degrees. This is definitely traced. My grandmother had gotten a written statement from her. Official, legal, powerful. I had hired a lawyer. Not to sue immediately, to understand my options. To know what was possible, to prepare. The lawyer, a sharp woman named Michelle who seemed genuinely angry on my behalf, told me about forgery, misrepresentation, breach of fiduciary duty. The words were heavy, legal, real, prosecutable. She also told me something important. I had filed a formal dispute with the bank months ago. They'd been investigating quietly, very quietly, while my parents went about their lives, thinking they'd gotten away with it. The bank's legal team was reviewing everything, every document, every signature, every authorization, and a decision was coming. My grandmother did something genius. Something that would eventually destroy them more than any lawsuit could. She told people, not me first. Not my parents, just people she knew, her bridge club. For women who met every Thursday afternoon. Her church friends, her siblings, her oldest and dearest friends. Slowly, quietly, the story spread through our extended family like water finding cracks in stone. It seeped everywhere. It couldn't be stopped. My parents weren't admired anymore. They were questioned, whispered about, discussed. Family friends started calling, asking uncomfortable questions. Why did we need a new car? How did we afford that vacation? Did Abigail ever end up at her dream university? My father's pride, his courtesy, his identity, his entire self-worth started devaluing fast. He could feel it. I could see it in his face. The way people looked at him changed. The way they didn't look at him changed even more. He hated it. I could see it destroying him from the inside out. My mother tried to maintain appearances. She kept going to her book club. She kept hosting dinners. But people didn't come the same way. They came with suspicion, with judgment, with pity, which was somehow worse. 2 weeks later, the letter from the bank arrived. Certified, official, final, irregular authorization procedures. Improper beneficiary notification, fudge documentation identified. Funds subject to restitution pending resolution. My father read it 3 times. Standing in the kitchen, alone, I watched him from the doorway. Then he asked to meet with me. Alone, no lawyers. No mediators, just us. He didn't threaten. He didn't yell. He didn't try to manipulate. He just asked what I wanted. I told him one thing, the truth. All of it, from the beginning, he agreed. When he confessed at the next family dinner, there was no drama, no tears from him, no fighting. He admitted they'd redirected the funds intentionally. He admitted forging my signature. He explained how my mother had presented her ID as the authorized account holder when withdrawing the money. How they'd planned it carefully. How they'd thought I wouldn't notice. How they'd spent it all. My brother listened with his head down. My mother cried real tears this time, not dramatic ones. My grandmother sat quietly, observing, judging, understanding. The money they'd stolen was gone, spent, consumed. They had to refinance their house at a higher interest rate. Sell the car, downsize their life. Structured payment agreements took years to complete. 7 years of their lives, tied to restitution. But they paid it back, every penny, with interest. I didn't feel victory when the first installment hit my account. I felt closure. My brother came to visit me alone a few weeks later. He was angry at them, not at me. We started rebuilding what their lives had damaged, our relationship, our trust. He even helped me pay for my delayed enrollment at university, insisting on it, refusing to let me refuse. My grandmother updated her will. She made it transparent, equal, protected. She appointed an external executor, someone outside the family, so there would be no secrets. No power plays, no one person able to control anything. No more secrets, she said when she told me, never again. The final family gathering was 6 months later. It was quiet, no raised voices. The truth had already done its damage. I wasn't the ungrateful daughter anymore. I wasn't the one causing problems. I wasn't the threat to family harmony. I was the one who had stayed calm when everything exploded. The one who gathered proof instead of accusations. The one who waited instead of reacting immediately. The one who planned instead of panicking. The one who won by refusing to let lies stand. My parents had to live with the consequences of their own choices. Every single day, they had to face everyone. Had to spend years rebuilding trust they destroyed in a single moment of greed. Had to explain themselves, had to feel the weight of judgment. They destroyed themselves, not me. I just didn't let them lie about it. My brother was okay, better than okay eventually. He transferred universities to a school without their stolen money attached to it. He worked part-time jobs, he took loans in his own name. He rebuilt his sense of self-worth on honest ground. My grandmother was vindicated. She'd been right, she'd seen the truth. She'd protected me. And me, I got my money back. I got my education. I got something better than revenge. I got justice, quiet, patient, legal justice. Silence, I learned, wasn't weakness, it was strategy. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply the truth delivered patiently, documented carefully, and presented at exactly the right moment. They took my money, but they couldn't take my mind. In the end, that made all the difference. That's the thing about lying, you can keep it up for a while. You can convince yourself, you can convince your family. You can spend stolen money and feel rich, but eventually, someone sees through it. Someone remembers, someone keeps proof. And when that moment comes, when the truth finally emerges, all the careful lies collapse, all at once, or completely. And you're left standing in the wreckage of your own choices, understanding too late what you should have understood from the beginning. That some people won't be broken, that some people will wait, that some people will win by simply refusing to lose. I was that person, and they never saw me coming.